I have been absolutely fascinated with this new dynamic unfolding that, Republican politicians will attack Democrats and Republican media figures will attack Democrats. No matter what, come hell or high water. Even in many instances where and the Obama era was perfect to show this. Obama would agree with the Republicans on something and then the Republicans would be like, well, now I disagree. Classic example was Obamacare. Guys, Obamacare is very similar to Romney Care, what Romney did in Massachusetts when he was governor there. And it comes from a right-wing think tank came up with the idea of basically mandating that people buy for-profit health insurance to get coverage, right? This isn't a lefty idea. A lefty idea is Medicare for all, single payer. A lefty idea or a center-left idea is public option. Those are the left-wing ideas. That's the spectrum of what's on the left when it comes to healthcare. And there's multi-payer, there's single payer, there's different ways of getting universal healthcare. But universal healthcare, either provided by the government or through a public option, those are the center-left to left-wing options. Obama did a center-right idea. Let me just mandate everybody has to buy health insurance from these rapacious for-profit insurance companies. But now, previously, Republicans had supported in the Clinton era. That's what they said to Clinton is, no, we want this idea. We want an individual mandate system. Well, then Obama agrees to it in 2009. They're like, now we're against it. So no matter what, it's never give credit to a Democrat. Even when they agree with us on our own priorities, we're against it, we're against it, we're against it, we're against it, we're against it. Except in this one instance. Now you have all these Republican politicians. Who was it? Marco Rubio and Tom Cotton, to name two. I'm sure there's more. And now you have Republican media figures who are all slavishly defending a Democrat. Well, why? Well, it's Bob Menendez. And the reason they're defending him is because he was caught in the most obvious corruption of all time. So here's Jesse Waters. Watch what he says.
So what message was American intelligence sending when the FBI found $500,000 in cash sewn into a senator's windbreaker and gold bars stashed in his closet? Well, it was a message that Gold Bar Bob didn't get.
I will continue to cast votes on behalf of the people of New Jersey, as I have for 18 years. And I'm sure when they need those votes, they'll be looking forward for me to cast them.
Gold bars sticking it out. So Langley shifted to plan B. The CIA now says Gold Bar Bob was a spy. Former intelligence agents told The Intercept, it certainly appears like the Egyptian government was using a classic source recruitment pattern to get Menendez and his wife to spy for them. Another one says the evidence suggests they viewed Menendez as a source, possibly assisting Egyptian intelligence in more covert and damaging ways. So Gold Bar Bob's not just greedy, he's a traitor. This is the same Trump playbook they used last time. They just switched countries from Russia to Egypt. But why was Gold Bar Bob such a threat to Democrats, since Democrats have been taking bribes for decades?
So now they're doing full-throated defenses of Bob Menendez. And they're seriously arguing the deep state is targeting him. And this is the same playbook they used against Trump with Russia, Russia, Russia. Guys, all it took for conservative media figures and Republican politicians to defend a Democrat is to have the Democrat get caught in the most brazen, blatant, obvious corruption of all time. Look, I've lost a lot of friends to Conspiracy Brain. And now Conspiracy Brain is taking over the mainstream. In this instance, it's the Republican politicians, but also Fox News. I mean, they've engaged in all sorts of conspiracies, right? But this is a level above and beyond what I thought possible. If we were back in the era of Fox News being O'Reilly's, his kingdom, right? O'Reilly would have pounced on this in the correct way. Now, look, O'Reilly would deny all the corruption that Republicans are doing, which is untrue and messed up. But he also would have been like, oh, Bob Menendez was caught, red-handed corruption, guilty, step down, go to prison. That's what he would have said. And he would have been right. But now, the internet has warped our brains so much, and contrarian brainworms have infested so many people, that now you have these conservative Republicans defending Bob Menendez because he's corrupt. It's like, oh no, there must be something more to the story. They're trying to make the CIA the enemy and the deep state the enemy. Guys, I got news for you. To the extent that the DOJ or the FBI or whatever investigators or prosecutors are involved in this, to the extent they were behind it, Good. Pat them on the back. Congratulate them. I hate this way of thinking. And sometimes you do see this on the left, too, where it's like, well, are you for the FBI or against it? Are you for the DOJ or are you against it? And the answer is, well, hold on. It depends. Is the FBI going after civil rights leaders? I'm against that. Is the FBI going after the Ku Klux Klan? I'm for that. Right? This idea, it's either all good, all bad. They're always right or they're always wrong. No, it depends. It depends. If they're going after a corrupt senator because of his brazen corruption, and he was basically caught on the payroll of Egypt, which he was, that's not conjecture. If you read through the evidence, you'll see that very clearly. Well, then I'm happy they're going after him. And I want them to go after more people. Right? More of these uber corrupt senators. God, it's like, I swear to God, man, it's like, now, these days, with many people, the narrative matters more than the truth. And in this instance, the narrative that they find sexy and appealing is like, well, maybe the deep state is going after Bob Menendez. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the CIA trying to take down Bob Menendez. Or what's Occam's razor? He's comically, cartoonishly corrupt, and his ass got caught red-handed, a degree and a level above and beyond what most politicians even do, and he makes them all look bad, and so now he's got to pay the price. It's so amazing to me, man. This is a layup for the right. The argument you should be making, of course he's corrupt, and now you got to look at all the other Democratic senators because they're just as corrupt. I'm sure they're all doing the same thing. Like, this was a layup. And they fumble it because they're so conspiracy-brained. They're like, oh, no, this is just like the deep state coming after him and the CIA trying to take him down. Well, why are they trying to take him down, bro? What's he doing? And that's exactly what you see from the Marco Rubios of the world, the Tom Cottons of the world. Oh. And they also, I guess the thing is, they don't, maybe another piece of this is they would think to turn around on a dime like that to go after Menendez when Trump has 91 criminal charges against him. Maybe they thought that's hypocritical. And so now they're leaning into like the innocent until proven guilty, innocent until proven guilty. God, I hate it when people, look, fucking duh. Everybody knows we have innocent until proven guilty. A civilized society has innocent until proven guilty. That doesn't mean you can't talk about how persuasive the evidence is in the situation. You know, when I read the Jack Smith indictment, when I read the civil fraud case against Trump, when I read the Georgia details, you're allowed to look at that and go, hey, this looks pretty damning. I think he's guilty. Without idiots go, well, actually, did you know we have innocent until proven guilty? Of course we have innocent until proven guilty. But talk about the evidence as such. Talk about the actual information. But they refuse to do that, and they just keep going back to innocent until proven guilty. That doesn't mean that you're not allowed to think somebody's guilty based on the preponderance of the evidence. And what I always find is I read through the evidence in a lot of these cases, and then the people who was innocent until proven guilty, they haven't even read the details. That's what drove me crazy about this civil fraud case against Trump, where the right was trying to come up with all these bogus arguments to defend him. It's like, how many of them actually read the specifics? Zero. And they go with misleading arguments. Like they point out, oh, the judge says Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million, and that's how you know this is a witch hunt and this is fake news, because look, how ridiculous is that? It's worth way more than that. The Trump said it was worth $18 million to pay lower taxes, and that's why the judge brought up the $18 million number, you absolute ignorant frauds. It drives me crazy. Like, don't try to engage in a back and forth on the details if you haven't even read the goddamn details. And this is what I ran into when I read the frickin' the Jack Smith indictment. You had all these people pontificating about the veracity of the claims against Trump, and like none of them read the details. And then I'm there like, okay, well on page 7 of the indictment, it answers your concern with this, and this. And it's like, oh, well, I reject that. What does that even mean you reject it? You didn't even know it was there. Now I tell you, and it's like, oh, it doesn't count. Why doesn't it count? It's so lazy. It's so sloppy. And this is so lazy and sloppy from Jesse Waters. Just the classic, like, contrarian, terminally online, conspiracy-brained. Well, obviously, if this guy was caught being a preposterous criminal, it must be, like, some sort of deep state plot. Or he's a preposterous criminal. Just like when Tom Cotton brought up, like, oh, we've seen the deep state go after Bob McDonnell. And go after, you know, he listed a whole bunch of people. And it's like, virtually everybody you listed actually is guilty. And we just have a court system that literally allowed corruption in their instances. But you're using that like it exonerates Bob McDonnell. No, Bob McDonnell should be in prison. But he's lucky that we have a pro-corruption court system. Right? God, I hate these people. Oh, my God. I'm getting too worked up here. But you guys get the gist of it. This is wild. So the way you get very prominent Republicans, the politicians and the media figures, to support you is to be the worst human on planet Earth. That's how you get them to support you. They will never support you if you come out and say, I'm going to crusade for a living wage. I'm going to crusade for universal health care. They will rip you to no end. They'll call you a socialist. They'll call you a communist. They'll call you Che Guevara or Fidel Castro. They'll drag you through the mud. They'll compare you to genocidal dictators, etc. But if you are caught with literal gold bars stuffed in a jacket with your name on it, all of a sudden you're a hero to them, which says everything you need to know about who these people are and how unserious they are. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.